Hello, Class 9 students. Welcome to a fascinating journey into the world of reproduction. Today, we are diving deep into fission, a fundamental way single-celled organisms multiply. We'll explore two main types, binary fission in amoeba and multiple fission in Plasmodium. Get ready to uncover the secrets of how these tiny creatures make more of themselves, from the basics to advanced concepts, across 4 exciting levels of learning. Ready to discover how tiny cells simply split to create new life? Let's start with the basics of fission. Fission is a remarkable form of asexual reproduction, meaning a single parent organism can produce offspring all by itself. There's no need for two parents or fusion of gametes. The offspring created through fission are exact genetic copies of their parent, like perfect clones. The word fission itself means to split, which perfectly describes the process. In this method, a parent cell or organism simply divides, giving rise to 2 or even more daughter cells. It's an incredibly efficient way for simple life forms to multiply. Let's look at the 2 main types. First, binary fission, where binary means 2. Here, a single parent cell divides into 2 identical daughter cells. A classic example is the amoeba. The process is straightforward. The amoeba grows, its nucleus divides first, then its cytoplasm follows, pinching off to form 2 new, independent amoebae. This usually happens when conditions are good, with plenty of food. Second, multiple fission, where multiple means many. In this case, a single parent cell divides into many daughter cells simultaneously. Plasmodium, the parasite that causes malaria, uses this method. When conditions are unfavorable, the parent cell forms a protective cyst. Inside, its nucleus divides repeatedly into many nuclei, each surrounded by a bit of cytoplasm. Once conditions improve, the cyst breaks, releasing numerous daughter cells. Now, let's test your understanding with a few quick questions. Take a moment to think about these. First, can you define fission in the context of reproduction? Second, provide an example of an organism that reproduces through binary fission. And finally, what's the key difference between binary fission and multiple fission when it comes to the number of offspring produced? Good luck! Alright, let's level up. We'll now delve deeper into the specific mechanisms of binary and multiple fission. Let's examine binary fission in amoeba more closely. This is an asexual process where a parent cell precisely splits into 2 equal halves, each becoming a new, complete individual. This division typically occurs under favorable environmental conditions when there's an abundance of food and the temperature is just right. The process begins with karyokinesis, where the nucleus elongates and divides. This isn't always like typical mitosis, it can be a simpler, direct division. Following this, cytokinesis occurs, the cytoplasm divides, gradually constricting and enclosing one nucleus in each half. Finally, the cell pinches off, creating 2 genetically identical daughter amoebae. Interestingly, the plane of division in amoeba can be quite irregular. Next, we explore multiple fission in Plasmodium, a strategy crucial for its survival and proliferation. This is an asexual reproduction method where the parent cell's nucleus divides many times before the cytoplasm divides, ultimately yielding numerous daughter cells. This process often takes place under challenging environmental conditions or as a vital part of its complex life cycle within a host. The first step involves the formation of a protective, thick-walled cyst around the parent cell, especially when conditions are harsh. Inside this cyst, the nucleus undergoes rapid, repeated divisions, generating many daughter nuclei. Subsequently, a small portion of cytoplasm envelopes each of these nuclei. Finally, when conditions become favorable, or the host cell ruptures, the cyst wall breaks, releasing a multitude of identical daughter cells ready to infect new cells. To summarize, let's compare these 2 fascinating processes. Binary fission produces just two offspring, while multiple fission yields many. Binary fission typically thrives in favorable conditions, whereas multiple fission often occurs under unfavorable conditions or during specific life cycle stages. Cyst formation is generally absent in binary fission but is a protective hallmark of multiple fission. Nuclear division happens once in binary fission before cytoplasmic division, but multiple fission involves numerous nuclear divisions before the cytoplasm finally segregates. Amoeba is your classic binary fission example, while Plasmodium demonstrates multiple fission. Ultimately, multiple fission offers a highly efficient way to rapidly increase population size from a single parent in a short period. Time for some medium-level questions. First, describe the complete sequence of events during binary fission in amoeba. Second, explain why Plasmodium forms a protective cyst during multiple fission. Third, can you list two environmental conditions that specifically favor binary fission in amoeba? Fourth, how does the number of daughter cells produced differ significantly between binary fission and multiple fission? And finally, explain why the offspring generated through either type of fission are genetically identical to their parent. Give these a good thought. Ready to dive deeper? Let's analyze the intricate cellular mechanisms and evolutionary implications of fission. When we look at the cellular mechanisms, binary fission in protists like amoeba isn't always classical mitosis. It can be amitotic, meaning direct nuclear division without a visible spindle, or closed mitosis where the nuclear envelope remains intact. The key is the precise segregation of genetic material, followed by cytokinesis, the division of the cytoplasm, driven by internal cellular structures. Multiple fission, on the other hand, is defined by an initial phase of karyokinesis without cytokinesis. The parent cell becomes multinucleate first, and only after many nuclear divisions does cytokinesis occur, simultaneously partitioning cytoplasm around each nucleus. This strategy is incredibly efficient for rapid proliferation, allowing for explosive growth, especially crucial for parasites. Both processes are tightly regulated by internal biological clocks and external environmental cues, ensuring division occurs at the most opportune times for the organism's survival and propagation. Fission offers significant adaptive advantages. Firstly, rapid reproduction allows for extremely fast population growth, which is great for quickly exploiting new resources or multiplying within a host. Secondly, no mate is required, making it ideal for organisms that are sessile or sparsely distributed. Thirdly, multiple fission, in particular, generates a huge number of offspring from a single parent, greatly increasing the chances of some surviving. And fourthly, cyst formation in multiple fission provides a vital protective mechanism against harsh environmental stressors like drought or nutrient scarcity. However, there are disadvantages. The primary one is the lack of genetic variation. Offspring are genetically identical clones, making the entire population vulnerable to sudden environmental changes, new diseases, or predators. This also limits the species' ability to adapt and evolve over time. Fission is one of several asexual reproduction methods, each with its own ecological role. Let's compare it to others. Budding, seen in organisms like Hydra or yeast, involves an outgrowth or bud forming on the parent, which then detaches to become a new individual. It's often asymmetrical. Fragmentation, like in Spirogyra or Planaria, occurs when the parent body breaks into pieces and each piece develops into a new organism. Spore formation, common in fungi and ferns, produces specialized reproductive cells that can germinate into new organisms. Fission stands out because, especially in binary fission, the parent organism essentially disappears as it becomes the two daughter cells, blurring the lines between parent and offspring. Multiple fission is unique in its capacity to produce many offspring simultaneously from a single parent cell through that initial multinucleate stage, offering a highly efficient burst of reproduction. Let's tackle these challenging questions. First, How does the nuclear division in amoeba during binary fission differ from typical mitosis in multicellular organisms? Second, discuss the evolutionary advantage of rapid reproduction through fission for organisms like amoeba. Third, what is the primary disadvantage of asexual reproduction, specifically fission, in terms of genetic diversity? Fourth, explain how cyst formation in Plasmodium contributes to its survival. Fifth, compare and contrast binary fission with budding, highlighting key differences in their processes. Sixth, in what specific environmental conditions would multiple fission be more advantageous than binary fission? And finally, how do both internal and external factors contribute to the precise regulation of fission? Think critically. Prepare to push your biological understanding to its limits. Our hardest level explores the deepest scientific and medical insights into fission. The initiation of fission is a finely tuned process, regulated by both external and internal signals. External factors like temperature, pH, nutrient availability, and oxygen levels are crucial. For example, amoeba's binary fission accelerates at optimal temperatures and nutrient richness. In contrast, Plasmodium's multiple fission cycles are often synchronized with the host's body temperature rhythms. Internally, although less understood than in complex eukaryotes, protozoans likely utilize molecular checkpoints and signaling pathways. These might involve nutrient-sensing mechanisms, cell cycle regulatory proteins like cyclins and CDKs, and stress response proteins that mediate the crucial decision to divide or, in harsh conditions, to encyst. The precise arrangement and contraction of cytoskeletal elements, such as microtubules and actin filaments, are also fundamental, playing critical roles in nuclear migration, elongation, and ultimately, ensuring successful cytokinesis. Let's examine the fascinating variations in karyokinesis and cytokinesis in protists. In amoeba, nuclear division, often termed amitosis, may appear direct without a typical spindle, but it's an organized process ensuring genetic material distribution. Some studies even suggest a primitive, closed mitosis, where the nuclear envelope remains intact. Cytokinesis in amoeba is typically an invagination of the cell membrane followed by cytoplasmic constriction. What's unique is its irregular plane of division, unlike the fixed planes seen in other protists. Multiple fission, however, is defined by a striking dissociation of karyokinesis from cytokinesis. The cell first becomes a syncytium, a multinucleate structure before individual cellularization occurs. This strategy maximizes the number of daughter cells produced within a single parent unit, allowing for explosive growth. This is particularly crucial for parasitic life cycles like Plasmodium, where rapid proliferation within host cells is key to disease progression and pathogen spread. This engineering of division ensures maximum yield from a single parent cell. The pathological relevance of multiple fission is vividly demonstrated by Plasmodium, the parasite causing malaria. When an infected mosquito bites a human, sporozoites, formed through multiple fission in the mosquito, enter the bloodstream and travel to the liver. Inside liver cells, these sporozoites undergo hepatic schizogony, a form of multiple fission, producing thousands of merozoites. These merozoites are then released, infecting red blood cells. Within red blood cells, they again undergo erythrocytic schizogony, another multiple fission stage, to produce more merozoites. The cyclic rupture of these infected red blood cells is what causes the characteristic fever and chills of malaria. Some merozoites differentiate into gametocytes, which are taken up by another mosquito. Inside the mosquito, these gametocytes undergo sexual reproduction, and the resulting zygote then undergoes sporogony, yet another type of multiple fission, to produce more sporozoites, completing the life cycle. Understanding these specific fission events is absolutely critical for developing effective antimalarial drugs and vaccines. Finally, let's consider the evolutionary trade-offs between asexual and sexual reproduction. Asexual reproduction, including fission, ensures genetic fidelity, creating offspring perfectly adapted to a stable environment. However, this lack of genetic recombination makes populations incredibly vulnerable to sudden environmental shifts or evolving pathogens. This vulnerability is highlighted by Muller's ratchet, a concept suggesting that in purely asexual populations, harmful mutations can accumulate irreversibly over generations. Fission organisms often mitigate this through extremely high reproductive rates or by thriving in exceptionally stable niches. Conversely, the Red Queen hypothesis posits that in coevolutionary arms races, like host-parasite interactions, sexual reproduction provides the necessary genetic variation for continuous adaptation against rapidly evolving pathogens. Plasmodium, despite its extensive asexual phases, crucially incorporates a sexual phase in the mosquito. This complex life cycle beautifully illustrates the evolutionary importance of genetic mixing for long-term survival in dynamic and challenging environments, showcasing how nature balances the benefits of rapid asexual proliferation with the adaptive power of sexual reproduction. Now, for the first set of 5 challenging questions. First, elaborate on the role of internal molecular checkpoints in regulating the timing of fission in protozoans. Second, discuss how the closed mitosis observed in some protists during binary fission differs structurally and functionally from open mitosis in higher eukaryotes. Third, explain the term syncytium in the context of multiple fission and its biological significance. Fourth, describe the specific stages of Plasmodium's life cycle where multiple fission occurs and relate them to the symptoms of malaria. And fifth, how might the Red Queen hypothesis explain the presence of a sexual reproductive stage in Plasmodium, despite its extensive reliance on multiple fission? Here are the remaining 5 questions to truly test your knowledge. Sixth, analyze the evolutionary implications of Muller's ratchet for a species relying solely on binary fission in a constantly changing environment. Seventh, propose an experimental setup to investigate the effect of varying pH levels on the rate of binary fission in amoeba. Eighth, discuss the adaptive advantages of an irregular plane of division in amoeba compared to a fixed plane of division in other protists. Ninth, from an engineering perspective, how does multiple fission optimize the output of new individuals from a single parent cell? And finally, 10th, if a new drug targets the cytoskeletal elements responsible for cytokinesis in Plasmodium, what specific stage of its life cycle would be most effectively disrupted, and why? And that brings us to the end of our deep dive into fission. I hope you've gained a comprehensive understanding of binary fission in amoeba and multiple fission in Plasmodium, from the basic definitions to their intricate cellular mechanisms, adaptive significance, and even their pathological relevance. This journey through different levels of complexity is designed to build a strong foundation for your biological studies. Remember, for more such engaging and in-depth educational content, visit synapse.omaps.in. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for regular updates and new lessons. Keep exploring, keep learning, and keep asking questions.